Hello there, fish tankers. I hope everything is going swimmingly. Guppies. We all had guppies in our youth, so it is a bit of a nostalgic thing. It's a beginner's fish. So a while back I decided to revisit that nostalgia. I got myself a few guppies and I put them in the 29-gallon here to the left of me. It's been fun. I've learned quite a few things, but I'm over it. If you want to find out what I've learned and why I'm over it, stick around. Like most of you, in my youth, when I was still a kid at school, I had some guppies in a 10-gallon, 1.5 foot tank. They bred, I saved the babies, put them in one of those floating breeding taps until they were big enough not to be eaten, raise them up and then exchange them at the pet shop for fish food or plants or whatever the case may be. As the years gone by, I wanted to revisit that, not to breed them, I just wanted to add them to my tank because I got all these fast, hard swimming tetras in the 29-gallon here to my left, so the babies get born but they never survive for very long. So guppies are not the smartest of fishes because my egg layers now and then the fry survives to adulthood, but not with the guppies in the kind of setup they were in here. But I was kind of reluctant because the guppies have increased in variety and different colors, but I found like that they, along with other live bearers, became very disease prone and finicky fish to keep. Then in one of the Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups, I saw that the imports from Sri Lanka were better. I saw some nice guppies there at Brackenfell Pets and asked Peter to call the wholesaler, and he found out that they were in fact from Sri Lanka. So I got myself some guppies and into the 29-gallon they went. So what did I learn from the experience? Well, number one, before I put them in, I've learned this already, but they like a bit of hardness in the water, and my water is very soft. So I made sure that my water is a little bit harder, or it's still soft with just some hardness in it. And I have got these dirted substrates that's got some bone meal in it, and that gives you just a little bit of KH of around about 6 or so. And in my youth, they told us that guppies need salt. It's not really true, but just need a little bit of KH. So if you have very soft water, a bit of crushed coral, or even if you have a dirted substrate, a bit of that bone meal can just give you a bit of KH, and then the guppies are much better. Then that's the one thing. And the other thing that I've learned is, as per most recommendations, I got 2 females for every male, but these male guppies go after the females constantly. So I would recommend, if I were to do it again, I would get more females per male, 3 or 4 females even per male, because they go after those females incessantly, and they don't always spread their amorous advances to all the females. They tend to target one. So what made me fall out of love with the guppies? Well, in the end, they're just very sort of rapey fish, to be honest. They're constantly banging those females, chasing them around the tank. And to me, it's not nice to watch. It's not peaceful. They're just a little bit too active. Some like all that activity of the guppies. The other thing about them is they're very nippy fish, not as in fin nippy, but they feel with their mouths. They pick everywhere. And I've even found that some females would harass a certain female and pick her back all the time. And I don't know if there's any correlation, but I dosed the tank with praziquantel once because I had one of the guppies with that white stringy feces. And then that nippiness increased. And after I did a big water change, it decreased again. They were even harassing my nereid snails. As soon as the snails are out, they just nip at the snail until it stays in its shell. So that was a part of the guppies that I didn't like. Some people say you can only keep males. I've tried some Endler guppies as well in the little cube there. They're much smaller. I do find that they are hardier. They're not so worried about the KH as the normal big fancy guppies are. But even the male Endler guppies, when there were no females, they tried to mate with my beta, and the beta didn't pay them any notice, just shoved them away. But even that happened there. But some of that is, of course, my fault. It's not the fish's fault, because the one thing that I've noticed about the guppies, they don't live very long. Usually a guppy lives 2 years, maybe 3 years is max. But mine all didn't go past a year. I've got a few females left there, but they didn't live very young. They didn't get diseases or anything, but they just didn't live that long. And I think part of it was that heightened breeding activity, and a big part of it is up to me, because over here I'm in the top story of my house. The temperature, it gets quite high, and in summers You can't keep it below 27 degrees Celsius in the tank. Sometimes it gets even warmer than that for short periods of time, but you can't keep it below that. And I think that is, of course, what made for these heightened activity levels among the guppies. So I would, if I were to do it again, I would have more females, and I would bring the temperature down to about 24 degrees Celsius. I've asked around, and I've seen it in pet shops as well. When the water is a bit cooler, they just tend to chill out a little bit. So that's the one thing that I would change if I were to keep guppies again, along with having more females. Just keep them a little bit cooler. Right now, I've got 3 females left in the tank here, so it's just the females on their own. They're quite chilled out. They have aged quicker because of the warmer temperatures. You can see some of them are humpbacked, and they're probably not going to be here for much longer. But when these females are gone, I think I'm over guppies for now. So it's a very nice little fish, and that is what I've learned from keeping guppies. Do you guys like guppies? Do you keep guppies? What are your secrets? And that is it from me. If you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Until we see each other again, keep taking good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.